Let's talk some sports, baby.
And remember, make tomorrow better than today and make today better than yesterday. And you know what we gonna do. We gonna holler at you until next time, baby.
All right, fellas, go ahead and wrap it up tonight with some college football. This weekend's action was dominated by the lack of overall games, thanks to COVID-19, unfortunately. But the action we did get was fairly good. All the top 10 teams held on. Oregon stayed alive in their playoff hunt. And Kyle Trask made his Heisman pitch. So, Drink, what did you enjoy the most from the weekend?
Well, I got me another episode of the Michigan Wolverines getting their teeth kicked in, so that was cool. Brought to you every Saturday in the Big Ten Conference now. But I thought Notre Dame and Boston College was interesting. Listen, I thought, I don't know what to make of Notre Dame. Like, you come out, you beat Clemson, okay, and then you get a chance the very next week to make a statement with the team that gave Clemson the hard game to prove to people that it wasn't just a fluky win, and then you beat them, but it's like it wasn't what I needed at the time. I needed that Florida and Arkansas. You know what I'm saying? I needed some of that action. You know what I mean? You got to be out here. I need you to transition into Florida and Arkansas. But basically what I meant, Notre Dame, I need you to do more on the eye test. Let me just say that. Give me some stronger eye tests here. Give me a little bit more, because you already know how I feel about Notre Dame at this point. I think they massively overhyped, and then they come out here, they beat Clemson, which is a good win, but then I just want you got to get Boston College the hell out of here. And then rolling over to Florida, listen, here's the deal. 2 weeks ago, I was talking trash like, whatever, Florida, they like Alabama light, Alabama diet, whatever. Florida going to have to come see Bama. This is what it is. They out here putting up 60. Look, they made Arkansas look. I thought Arkansas was going to be more competitive. If you remember when we talked about these games, I'm like, the game I want to see the most, Arkansas and Florida. They secondary, pretty highly rated. Felipe Franks, blah, blah, blah. Kyle Trask said, hold my solo cup, because I don't even drink out the Gatorade bottles. Come on, hold that for me. And look at it. It's number one in the Heisman race, 350. Man, come on, man. Florida got to come see Bama. I'm waiting for that now. That's SC championship. Let's go ahead and fast forward the season. Could I interest anybody into some Michigan State Spartans? Another team that was on a couple of episodes ago with Michigan when they was kicking in their teeth. Is Iowa for real? I mean, is Indiana for real? Is it me, or do anybody else think Indiana for real?
I would say they're worth paying attention to.
Well, you're damn right. They're gonna be definitely worth paying attention to this week, because they got I believe that for Friday. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But we gonna see. We gonna see. I was just curious. And to Michigan's credit, listen, it was Wisconsin. Wisconsin is a better team than Michigan this year. Without even seeing them play, that much, I just felt like Wisconsin was a better team. I feel like they coach better. I feel like they adapt better. Whatever. But
30,
they've been out of action.
38 though. Oh.
Yeah, you can't excuse that.
You're right. Listen. You know how I feel about young Cactus. I've been saying that he just out here stealing money from Michigan, and because he got a couple of more wins, everybody will be like, oh, well, Michigan better than it was when he got there. I don't care about none of that. I'm a Bama fan. That whole better than, we need wins. We need some type of titles. Like, that don't work for me. But I'm just saying in Wisconsin, I mean, that team was better. They should have kicked their teeth in, and they did kick their teeth in. And then Oregon, my team, I think, going to represent the Pac-12 if a Pac-12 team gets into the playoff conversation. But they making me worried too. I mean, they put up 43 on Washington State, but hey, that was Washington State. I don't even know who the hell the coach is at Washington State. I mean, like, Oregon, I'm gonna need you to show me something too. Can you give me something? Because you guys over here, y'all just like treading water. So those games. Florida State doing what they do, the annual, the weekly L. No big deal. Neither here nor there. And then I'm looking at listen, Ole Miss put up 48 against Bama, and I remember the sky was falling at Bama. Everybody was like, "Oh my God, whoop de whoop." Let me tell you something. Lane Kiffin got these boys out here just putting up some numbers on people. They don't play no defense, but boy, do they put up some numbers. Like Lane Kiffin, he allergic to defense, but they put up some numbers. They put up so many numbers on South Carolina. They fired Muschamp damn near right after the game. Like, you're out of here, folks. We do not care that we don't have the funds to replace you right now because of COVID. You are fired. Clear out your desk and your locker. Leave your badge at the door. You are out of here. You have embarrassed us for the last time. We sick of your and he was out of there. So that tell you how bad things was in South Carolina. So you know what I'm saying? That game piqued my interest. And then Oklahoma didn't play, but I want to say, did Oklahoma play? Only Oklahoma played, right?
I don't think so.
Okay. I wanted to bring up Oklahoma before I got finished. I ain't going crazy. Be on the lookout, no? Oklahoma has Oklahoma State. I know this is a Friday thing, but I want to throw this out here. So I want to make sure I bring it back up Friday. Oklahoma. Be on the lookout for them to start. They 2 wins away from being back in playoff conversation. Mark my words. Watch what I tell you. Next week is the first playoff ranking show. Next week. Watch how just pay attention to how Oklahoma get hyped up in that show. You're going to be like, damn, maybe Drake was on to something. But either way, in a pretty lackluster Saturday, those were my biggest takeaways. I'll let you boy on it.
I gotta start off, and I don't mean to bash the host, but the mere fact that we're celebrating Oregon's success over Michigan failure in the lead-in, I think we just got to take a good hard look at that.
It was a rough week. What do you want me to write here, man?
Michigan. You should have wrote that. Michigan stinks. Is what you should have wrote.
We done wrote them off.
The biggest headline, and I know Michigan. I'm real sorry, Michigan, because I like Michigan as a program. I really do. I'm getting a little tired of seeing Ohio State kick their teeth in year after year after year after year. But they stink. I mean, we can't get around it. We can't make no more excuses. It's one thing to lose to Ohio State year after year, and win about 9 or 10 games every year and be respectable. But they're awful right now. I mean, I was talking about how much I like this kid Joe Milton a couple weeks ago. Well, he was terrible in this game. The whole team was terrible. I mean, you give up Don Brown. He's about good as fired. That their defensive coordinator. I mean, this is a team early in the Jim Harbaugh era. I mean, they could shut you down on defense. They can't do that anymore. I mean, and it's not just Ohio State. I mean, we got Indiana who beat them by 17 last week. Michigan State isn't good, and they beat Michigan the week after they lost to Rutgers. And now, I mean, you lose by 38 at home to Wisconsin. And yeah, Wisconsin is a really good program, and they compete year after year, and they're kind of the team to beat year after year in the Big Ten West. But 49-11, and you roll it back to last year. I want to say they lost 38-3. I mean, 2 years in a row of you can't even you look like you don't even belong on the same field as Wisconsin.
You weren't even competitive.
That's tragic, and I don't. This could be very bad. I really don't know if Jim Harbaugh. At this rate. I don't see there's any way that he can come back next year if this continues. You look down the line. I mean, my God. I mean, you got Rutgers on Saturday. Please God, win that game, or else if you lose to Rutgers, you might as well just start packing. And
No, he's gonna have to start wearing jeans to the game. You get rid of the khakis. It's time to start wearing Levi's 501, something like that to the game.
But I mean, think about it. You get Rutgers. Maybe you can get healthy against them. Maybe you can beat Penn State, who they're not good either. But then you got Maryland. Maryland looks surprisingly somewhat good. And I mean, it looks like you're gonna take your yearly L against Ohio State. I mean, what are you gonna do? Is the best you can go 4-4? I mean, it's looking pretty bad. I would say, in overall to the Big Ten, then the Big Ten I think it's been a little bit of a letdown so far.
Yeah.
You know, three of the 5 teams that I think I'd like to bring up before the season started. 3 of the 5 teams they're pretty much they're dead in the water. Michigan is not alone. Minnesota, they're not good. They're proof. I guess they're kind of showing that last year maybe it was a little fluky. Maybe they still got, you know, that foundation is a little it's not as solid as we thought it was, or maybe I thought it was. And then Penn State. I mean, Penn State. I guess at least Michigan's won a game. Penn State can't even say that. I mean, what a disaster. And we haven't even talked about him all that much.
Now let me ask you this: it is a letdown, but what if Maryland and Indiana are for real? Could they take the place of Minnesota, Penn State? I mean, we know what Ohio State gonna bring, but you know what I'm saying? Could teams like that, if they're for real teams, could they take those guys' place?
And with that, and you're right. And that's why I was going next with those teams that we saw. You know, particularly Michigan and Penn State, because their teams year in and year out, you can kind of count on to at least be in the mix. But you do have some surprise. I think Indiana is. I mean, they look like they're pretty good. I'm not sure how they'll look against Ohio State. Because Ohio State is capable of just, you know, skull dragging anybody. But also, I mean, a team like Northwestern. I mean, Northwestern quietly, they're 4-0. I mean, they're always seemingly interesting because, I mean, you got Pat Fitzgerald up there, seemingly a really good coach. And I don't think I've ever heard Northwestern like, hey, did you hear about Northwestern getting that 4- or 5-star recruit? Yeah, they doing good. They really hot on the recruiting trail. I don't think I've ever heard anything like that. So that's a testament to Pat Fitzgerald and his ability to develop players, and maybe do a little bit more with less. So that's something to look at. But you're right. Those teams like that, Indiana's and Northwesterns, they're making up for it. It's just disappointing that your traditional teams that you rely upon are not really showing out. But other than that, the Big Ten, I think, is my biggest takeaway with some of the teams that weren't in action. The second one, I think it would be Florida. That Florida offense is something to behold. Arkansas was actually they were looking somewhat good, surprisingly good. You know, at playing 500 ball with Felipe Franks, and they just get dominated, even without, you know, Florida's great tight end Kyle Pitts. So that was definitely something to see as well. It looks like we're headed for Florida Bama in the SEC title game.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if you look at down the schedules, neither of those teams appear to have much left on it. You know, since LSU is not really participating this year, neither team seems to have many challenges left. So that looks like a mortal lock. That's going to be a fun game. Because a lot of people say, oh, well, it's Florida's offense versus Alabama's defense. But, you know, it's really Alabama's offense is probably better than it gets credit for. And then, you know, Florida's defense maybe isn't as bad as it's getting credit for. I think they're starting to improve. I think that sometimes when teams have such prolific offenses, the other team just gets a bunch of chances, and sometimes the numbers look a little off than they maybe would. But when you're not playing time possession ball, where you're just throwing a touchdown every time you walk out there in 2 plays type things, so that's going to be fun. I think my biggest takeaway, besides, oh, by the way, the week you Liberty watch, Hugh Freeze is going to get a very good job. Next goes to Michigan. I don't know, but the Liberty Bells, I don't know what they actually are.
I think Hugh Freeze definitely deserved the Flames. I think Hugh Freeze definitely deserved to get a better job after this year.
That man is hanging 60 on everybody he walks across on the street, so it's getting pretty real for him, the comeback tour. But I think the Heisman watch, I think this is the week this kind of ignited because Kyle Trask just submitted that, hey, I'm going to be in the Heisman finalist. Like, he just threw 6 touchdowns. He's basically keeping pace with what Joe Burrow did last year, and the whole offense as a whole really is. I mean, if you look at the 6 games in the SEC for LSU versus for Florida, they're almost neck and neck. It's pretty surprising. But what's interesting is Kyle Trask is out here on prime time on Saturday night throwing the pineapple like it's going out of style. Justin Fields can't play because everyone else has got coronavirus, and Trevor Lawrence ain't playing because he had coronavirus. Now they got bye weeks and whatever else. We haven't seen him in 3 weeks. We'll get to see him Saturday against Florida State. But anyway, Kyle Trask is in the spotlight right now, while the other guys you would assume the finalists are going to be, maybe your Travis Etienne's or some other guys get in there. But he kind of feels like he's in the lead right now. It's just going to be an interesting race down the stretch. You're going to go with the stats of Kyle Trask, going to keep this up? Is he going to go to a guy that maybe is like Justin Fields, maybe doesn't have the stats because he won't have as many opportunities, but he's still quarterbacking maybe possibly a better team than he is at Florida? I don't know, but that's going to be a interesting. But I think that Heisman talk finally probably got ignited with what Kyle Trask did, because now we know, okay, we probably have our 3 guys at this point we're going to be running with the rest of the year. But the rest of the results, you guys pretty much hit them. We'll say the Cincinnati did get another win. Some of those kind of mid-major field teams are keeping it alive. I don't think BYU played, but they're another team that's kind of in that mix right now. So some of our top teams are keeping pace, and we know if one of these other big Power 5 teams kind of mess around, we can see some interesting things. And Drink had a good point. Remember, the first playoff rankings of every year have some bullcrap in them. They always have some wild bullcrap they throw in there to get people talking. So is it what he said? Is it maybe Cincinnati gets into 5 or 4 or something? I don't know. I mean, they're going to do something like that. So we'll see.